It's Amy, your Gray Girlfriend, and welcome to the Gray Girlfriend's Guide to Life podcast. First, let me say that I'm so happy and grateful that you're here with me. Out of the more than 3 million podcasts available, you chose this one, so thank you. This podcast was created for high-achieving women, real women who face and conquer real challenges, real women who are ready to take their lives to the next level. Between us all, we've been through it all, and I'm here to tell you, you can thrive despite it. So whether you're commuting to or from work or doing one of the other 50,000 things you do on a weekly basis, pop in your earbuds, my friend, and let's go. Today's episode is No White Flags Here. Surrendering to a higher power can feel like the most unnatural thing in the world when the powers over you in childhood were unsafe or abusive or consistently self-serving instead of loving. It is precisely because of that history, though, that learning a new, trustworthy experience of surrender can be one of the most healing acts of adulthood, especially for those on a recovery or transformation path. So what does surrender really mean? For many adults from dysfunctional homes, the word surrender sounds like defeat or helplessness or inviting more harm. That's because as a child, surrender was not a choice. It was enforced by people who held all the power and misused it. True spiritual surrender is different. It is a conscious, adult decision to stop trying to control what is not yours to control and to lean into a wiser, benevolent source of guidance and support beyond your own overworked nervous system. Instead of saying to yourself, I give up, do whatever you want to do to me, spiritual surrender sounds more like, okay, I'm willing to stop doing this all on my own. I'm willing to be guided by something that actually loves me. This is not passive or weak. It is an inter-repositioning from gripping, embracing, and over-functioning into openness and receptivity and a deep willingness to be helped. So why is surrendering so hard after abuse? If you grew up with abusive or emotionally chaotic parents, your body learned that letting go was dangerous. You may have survived by being hypervigilant, which is constantly scanning for danger and reading every micro-expression, or by being controlling, by trying to manage everyone's emotions to keep the peace, or by being self-reliant, deciding early on, no one's coming to save me, I'll handle it by myself. These strategies made perfect sense in that environment. They were forms of brilliance, not flaws. The problem is that the nervous system does not automatically update itself when you reach adulthood. The same patterns that once kept you safer can now block connection and support and spiritual intimacy. So when someone says, just surrender to your higher power, your body might feel terror or rage or numbness or suspicion. You might think, if I let go, I'll get hurt again. Or if anyone's in charge but me, I'm doomed. Or I can't trust what I can't control. These are not signs that you're bad at spirituality. They are signs that you are not protected and that your nervous system is still trying to protect you the only way it knows how. So how do you redefine the term higher power when your parents misused power? In many spiritual and recovery traditions, a higher power is not limited to the image of a parental figure on a cloud holding a big stick ready to whack you when you step out of a line that you didn't realize existed. A higher power can be the God of your understanding, not of your childhood conditioning, or the intelligence of life itself, the universe, nature, love, truth, consciousness. It can be Gus, like God, universe, spirit, spells Gus. Or it can be the collective wisdom of a safe community or group that wants your good. This is especially important if your primary experience of power was domination or cruelty. If you resonate with this remark, you may need to completely rewrite the concept of power from power equals control and punishment and abandonment to power equals wise and protective and steady and on my side. Part of surrender, then, is not just turning your life over to a higher power. It is allowing yourself to discover a higher power that is worthy of your surrender. It can be a gentle, iterative process. You're allowed to say, what if there really is an energy in the universe that would never treat me the way my caregivers did? You're allowed to ask this question, so ask it. There's a healing power of surrender. When surrendered to a loving higher power, those of us with traumatic past often describe several shifts. We experience relief from the burden of doing everything alone. Letting go of the illusion that you must control every outcome reduces chronic stress and anxiety. We experience increased resilience. Knowing you are held by something larger than your personal will allows you to face triggers and grief and setbacks with more steadiness. We experience humility and self-compassion. Surrender invites the admission that you have limits, which softens harsh self-judgment and opens space for healing. We experience a sense of meaning and guidance. Instead of feeling like random chaos, life begins to feel like a dialogue. You show up, and your higher power meets you with direction step by step. It's important to understand that surrender does not erase your past or your pain, but instead it provides a new container in which that pain can be held and processed and transformed, rather than running your life from the shadows. Boundaries and surrender are not opposites. Adults from abusive homes often confuse surrender with becoming boundaryless. In childhood, going with the flow often meant tolerating what should have never been tolerated. As an adult, spiritual surrender and healthy boundaries must coexist. For example, you can surrender the need to control others while still saying no to abuse or disrespect or exploitation. You can trust a higher power while refusing to excuse harmful behavior from family members or partners. You can pray for someone or send them good thoughts and still block their phone number. Surrender means letting your higher power have the final say about your worth and your path, not handing your power back to the people who misused it. In fact, many find that as they surrender to something loving, they gain more courage to set and maintain boundaries because they no longer fear being utterly alone if they walk away from dysfunction. Just so you know, because of your history of trauma, you may hit some emotional roadblocks when you start dipping your toe in the surrender pool. We're going to address 4 common emotional roadblocks, along with a suggestion for turning that roadblock into fuel. The first roadblock is mistrust. You may find yourself thinking something along the lines of, if I couldn't trust my own parents, how can I trust an invisible higher power? This question is honest and sacred. Surrender does not require blind faith. It can begin with cautious curiosity. Instead of saying to yourself, I must trust completely, you might start with something along the lines of, I'm willing to experiment with the idea that I'm not alone. See how different that second statement feels? The second roadblock is anger. Feeling anger at caregivers and at life and even God is common. You may feel, hey, where was this higher power when I was a child? If so, that's okay. Personally, I felt this way for years. If you resemble this remark too, if you find yourself feeling angry, show yourself some love and know this. Allowing that anger to be expressed safely, whether it's through RTT or journaling or prayer or a combination, can actually deepen your relationship with Gus. Remember Gus? God, universe, spirit. A loving higher power can handle your anger, my friend. The third roadblock is shame. Abuse often plants the lie that you're unworthy of care. When the idea of a loving higher power comes in, shame may say, that's for other people, not for someone like me. Again, that's a lie. Surrender then includes surrendering the belief that you are fundamentally broken. You were never broken, my friend. The fourth roadblock is control as identity. If your whole identity was built on being the one who holds everything together, then letting go can feel like death. Part of this journey is discovering who you are beyond your role as the responsible one, or the fixer, or the strong one. Here are some practical steps to practice surrender. Remember, surrender is not a single dramatic moment. It is a practice you return to, sometimes many times a day. For adults from abusive homes, starting small and concrete is often safest. Try micro prayers or setting intentions. Simple phrases like, guide me, or show me the next right step, or I don't know how, but I'm willing, can serve as tiny acts of surrender throughout the day. Try it now. Take a moment and say, either out loud or to yourself, I don't know how, but I'm willing. Do it again. I don't know how, but I'm willing. One more time, say it with me. I don't know how, but I'm willing. Notice how that feels. There's also somatic letting go. Because trauma lives in the body, surrender must live there as well. Practices such as slow breathing or gentle stretching, or even placing your hand on your heart while exhaling the words, I release, can help your nervous system experience a safe softening instead of collapse. There's turning over specific problems. Instead of trying to surrender your whole life at once, begin with one situation. Maybe start a conversation you're dreading, or a decision you're agonizing over, or a persistent worry. Verbally or in writing, say, I'm handing this specific situation over to you. Guide my thoughts and actions. And then there's community and support. Safe communities such as spiritual groups or recovery meetings or trauma-informed circles can embody your higher power's care in human form. Others who practice surrender can normalize your fears and share how letting go has supported their healing. Perhaps the most profound aspect of surrender after an abusive childhood is how it changes the narrative of your life. As a child, surrender was something done to you. As an adult, surrender becomes something you choose. You move from saying something along the lines of, I had no say in what happened to me, to I now have a say in how my story unfolds from here. You are no longer surrendering to the moods or addictions or limitations of a parent. You are surrendering to a source of love that wants you to see your wholeness, that wants you to grow, and wants you to feel at peace. In that sense, surrender does not erase your will, but aligns your will with a deeper wisdom. It is saying yes to a life in which your nervous system does not have to be on constant high alert. It is saying yes to a life not where your inner child needs to be protected, but a life where your adult self is guided and supported and never again left alone in the dark. When you were little, surrender meant survival under someone else's power. It was waving the white flag. Now, surrender can mean freedom in the presence of a power that is finally and fully on your side. Wishing you peace and plenty of all good things. Until next time, this is Amy, your gray girlfriend. Hey, it's Amy. Did you know that what we tell ourselves about ourselves impacts every decision we make? Every decision. So if you're feeling stuck in any aspect of your life, RTT can help. Want to know more? Go to amyblairlawson.com or click on the calendar link in the show notes to schedule your complimentary 30-minute consultation. Oh, one last thing. I can't forget the legal stuff. You know what I'm talking about. The language a lawyers write that I have to read to you. Well, here it goes. This podcast is for educational and entertainment purposes only. While I am a rapid transformational therapy practitioner, a certified divorce financial analyst, and a licensed investment advisor, this podcast is not intended as a substitute for a private session or a consultation. Got it? All right. Until next time, wishing you peace and plenty of all good things.